Hi, everyone. Wonderful to see real people again, so I'm just a little bit taken aback that we can do this. Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Magle Group and Magle Chemoswed, tell you a little bit about the company, what we've done, where we're going, and where we intend to be in a few years. First, I cover the legal stuff, which we will skip. The first thing I'd like to do is just try and explain a little bit about who Magle Group is and what it is. And essentially, it is the three circles that you have up here. So we have the Magle Group, which is almost the holding company of the group, and then we have two companies inside of that. So on the far right, you have Magle Chemoswed, which is based here in Malmö, just up the road, 10 minutes from here, which is a traditional CDMO. So it's a contract development and manufacturing organization where we are selling services and selling manufacturing to other drug companies, pharmaceutical companies, medical device and development companies. So we have a fully fledged site of around 6,000 square meters where we constantly manufacture and sell services from. Then on the circle close to me, you have Magle Chemoswed, which is a recent acquisition, June last year. And this is a sales organization for us. So the development of our own products based on our own technology platform, we then push through to our Berlin offices and to our Berlin sales force, and they then take the products into the market for us. And I'll come back to the technology that we develop those products on in a little bit. So essentially what we've tried to do here is we have a risk-based approach to the group and to the business, and we make sure that we have the two companies earning sufficient money to support themselves and to support the development. That gives us a fairly unique business model, which is a little bit blurry up there. But essentially, we have a five-step process that we go through to de-risk the business and to make sure that we can still grow the business. So starting at number one, we generate revenue. So this is a company that is generating revenues in the region of 130 to 150 million SEK a year. And those revenues need to be profitable into the second block. So we take the profits that we earn from our revenues and we invest them in number three. So this is our growth strategy. This is where we take our profits from, and we make sure that the CDMO up the hill in Malmö, our offices in Berlin, are generating sufficient profits for us to reinvest into our development and growth pipelines. This generates new products on the fourth bubble down below, and these products are generated into high growth areas with high return margins. And then we take again those into the sales organization and we pull it out. So we have this sort of never-ending loop and cycle in relation to reinvesting the profits into the company and making sure that the company can be almost self-sustainable in growth. When I say sustainable in growth, the growth for us predominantly comes from the development work that we do on our medical technology platform that we call DSM. DSM is made up of degradable starch microspheres. So Kalles caviar, did I say that right? Yes. If you imagine that, those little microspheres, those little eggs, that's what we make. And we make those out of a starch polymer. That starch polymer is bioresorbable, biodegradable. It's friendly to the human body. And we can generate multiple applications of that. So we can turn it into a gel. We can have it as a film that dissolves in the mouth and releases a drug. We can have it just exactly as that little microsphere and put it into the bloodstream. And cause occlusion and embolization and use it for cancer treatments. So we have a very versatile platform on the technology side, and this is where our profits go. They go into this technology platform where we develop new products, and these new products are the ones that end up in our Berlin offices with our sales force. What that does for us is it gives us a really interesting revenue and risk model as a company. So we have five bubbles that generate for us on a monthly basis an ongoing revenue into the business, and it allows us to weather the storms. So for example, COVID, we were positive numbers all the way through COVID and through other shocks, that we're not just reliant on one or two revenue sources. So starting on the far left, we have the development and sale of our own products. So these products that we develop and we invest in, this is our own sales force based in Germany, pushing our products out to the market, generating a revenue in return. We have a long-standing royalty agreement with Becton Dickinson for a product that we generated in 2016. This royalty agreement runs until the end of 2030 and accounts for around between 25 to 40 million SEK a year for us just in royalty revenues. The third is we sell and manufacture some generic active pharmaceutical ingredients, which we own. We own the drug master files on those. We have established customers on those, and they're good old horses that we put out to pasture every month, and every month they come back with the expectations for us. The last two relate directly to the CDMO part, so the Magle Chemoswed part based up the hill, where we provide full service and for cash payment on development services, contract manufacturing, and those are the 5 legs that we currently generate revenue from. So this allows us to sustain a good risk basis in the business and making sure that we can pivot from one to the other as we need to, depending on market conditions. As a company, we have around 75 employees, so we're not ready to take over the world just yet. But it is growing, and we have invested around 200 million SEK since 2016 into building the capabilities in the business to be able to support our growth strategy. So being able to develop these projects and products and have the capabilities in-house to do that. So I won't run through all of them, but we have it all the way from medical affairs. So we have 7 clinical trials currently running, which are funded by the company, which our medical affairs folks take care of, all the way through quality, regulatory, all the development chemistry that you would expect, right into our GMP and ISO certified manufacturing facilities. So we're producing at a GMP level, both in aseptic, so very sterile handling, and in more general handling as well. So a bit about us. On the CDMO side, just to go a step deeper, the one thing to point out here is we try to be a one-stop shop to the smaller companies, so peer-to-peer companies, rather than targeting the very big companies and competing with the larger CDMOs such as Recipharm. We find a niche in the smaller companies that are well capitalized, have good product candidates and products that we can support all the way through. So here our business model is not about a quick in and out and a quick invoice. This is about taking products in that become projects for us, right from the research part all the way down to the final product in terms of packaging, supply chain, logistics and manufacturing. So we have an almost one-stop shop currently. Magle Chemoswed, we have the sales force based in Germany. Our medical affairs are also based in Germany, so all our clinical trials are run from Germany currently. We also have strong presences in Greece, Italy, Spain, and as of yesterday, we had an approval in Singapore, so now we are also selling products directly into Singapore as well. And this also supports our innovation culture within the business. So we have an outside-in innovation culture. The sales force are linking the doctors, the clinics, and the facilities back into our research and development departments. And these two are talking to each other, so we're developing product directly with the clinics. This helps us in a number of ways. We have a lower innovation cycle, so much quicker time to market. And also we can do joint clinical studies and joint clinical trials with those clinics on the innovation side. So a little bit more about the DSM products that we currently have. These are approved in Europe and also now in Singapore, as I said. These are currently coming out or are already out. Starting with the one closest to me, Embocept S is the bottle on the right-hand side of the picture there. This is used for vascular occlusion. So it's little microspheres, the little eggs put into your bloodstream. They block the blood around a cancer tumor, and they starve the cancer tumor for blood. And at the same time, we can deliver a cytostatic and trap that cytostatic around the tumor. This is currently selling for anywhere between 16 to 25 million SEK a year as an established product in the market. Then we have 2 further which are coming out into the market. We have Smart Gel, which is again the same microspheres, this time in a gel with an antimicrobial used in the advanced wound care sector. We have a partner for this outside of Europe called Axo, so we actually have 2 products here. The Axo product has just been approved for sale in Kuwait, and we have shipped the first material to them. So that product has now been launched into that and will be launched later this year in Germany under the Smart Gel brand. Then we have Smart Pan, which is quite an interesting product. This was a prospect from our innovation out-in basis. So we did this in collaboration with one of the world's leading pancreatic surgeries clinics in Heidelberg in Germany. It's a first-in-class product. It's the only product in the space. And essentially, it is an indicator during pancreatic surgery to see whether or not you have pancreatic juice leaking out of the surgical site. And the reason that's important is if you have pancreatic juice leakage, you have a post-operative complication called pancreatic fistula, which requires you to go back into surgery. A lot of pancreatic patients are on the elderly side and also are usually a cancer patient, so bringing them back into surgery is a severe complication. This goes into the human studies. It's a CE mark product, so we're doing a post-market clinical study up on the 11th of July. We have the first patient sign their consent, and we'll go from that. And then we'll launch straight after that study finishes in Q4 this year. So we have established product on the market that our team are now working and selling in Berlin, generating good revenues for us. And then we also have what we call a low and a high hanging fruit pipeline. So on the low hanging fruit, you have Embocept M and L. These fit with the Embocept S product. So it's a family of products that we're generating. The Embocept M is for the treatment of benign prostate. So prostate tumors are reduced by starving the blood flow to those tumors. And then we have Embocept L, which is for uterine fibroids, which is another predominant type of growth that is prevalent, obviously, in women. And then we have one which is much further out and a little more progressive called SmartBone. SmartBone is, again, it's a gel incorporating the microspheres, but also an mRNA concoction. And this mixture altogether has given us very, very strong preclinical results for bone healing and bone growth, and has also resulted in the filing of a patent that we currently have ongoing. So we have a very near-term pipeline in M&L and a little bit of a longer one on the SmartBone project for us. Okay, as a company, we have a fairly aggressive growth strategy. This is our growth strategy until the end of 25. And we have the 5 areas that we're currently investing and focusing on for ourselves. One is the establishment of the direct sales force. So we plan to double our sales force in Germany over the next period of time, and also to push into France as the next major territory for us to get into. Increasing our CDMO returns. Given our business model, the more money we generate on the CDMO side is the more money that we are able to invest onto the DSM side. So for us, it's really important that we bring in the CDMO projects that give us maximum profit. This allows us to get maximum growth from our pipeline and our development work, which flows, of course, into number 3 that we have over there. We can't accelerate the development pipeline unless we are generating the returns from our direct sales organization and from our CDMO organization. So the 2 are interlinked to the third. The bottom 2, I think, are the more standard ones, being an exceptional employer. I mean, we have the constant fight. We have the wonders of being down here in Malmö in southern Sweden, but we also have the unfortunate reality of competing for talent with the likes of Novo Nordisk and Ferring, who are just over the bridge. So we're constantly fighting for new talent to come into the business. Operational efficiency, we are very cheap as a company. We don't like to spend money unnecessarily. We like to make sure that every krona we spend or put somewhere is actually going to generate a return for us. So this is an ongoing process for us to make sure that we don't waste money and that we get every bang for our buck, as it were. So our track record, can we do this? Is it possible for us to grow the company in the way we say we are? And I think the answer to that is very much a yes. So since 2016, we've entered into 1 large out-licensing royalty agreement. We've registered, validated, and had approved 3 drug substances, 4 DSM medical devices, and 2 drug products in that time. So for a small company of 75 people to be coming out with this amount of product and pushing out this amount of revenue in such a short space of time, I think is truly remarkable. And I think this is really evidence that our business model of generating profit and reinvesting that profit to grow the company is a good model through. So here's the sell. What have we done? How do we do it? We do it organically and inorganically, meaning that we are not scared to acquire other companies to help us grow. In 2016, Magle acquired Chemoswed, the manufacturing plant up the road. And this was a tiny little company, development company in Magle. And DuPont was the large company that owned Chemoswed at the time. So we acquired Chemoswed so we could acquire the manufacturing capabilities that we wanted to have for our developed products. 2019, we acquired another business in Medicon Village called Adroit Science because we saw that we had a lack of certain services, chemistry services, and that they could provide those services into the business. We'll forget about the listing on First North. That is a story for a lot of beer and a long discussion because COVID had just started and we decided it was a good idea to do a listing around that time. It was very successful because Västra Hamnen did it, but it was a challenge. After that, we acquired Pharmacept as part of our strategy to move into a direct sales force. That was in June last year. And then, of course, we are here today as Magle Group. Why should you consider investing in us? Apart from the fact that I think we have an incredibly innovative and interesting business model, we have established revenues, we have a good risk basis, we're also dedicated, and I have to say this is not just words, we really are dedicated to proper products, high quality, that actually do make a difference to patients' lives. So we are driven by that. We have a documented and a proven medical technology. This is not one small molecule that's going to cure one disease. We have a very flexible technology platform which allows us to balance the risk in our pipeline. So if one candidate falls out, we have others that we can bring forward. So we're not at risk. We're not at an oncopeptides type risk that if we failed in a phase 3 study, it would affect the entire business. We have so this is the very diverse pipeline that we have, and that diverse pipeline has high market potential in all the areas that we choose. We are led by the doctors, we are led by the clinics, and we're led by our business development teams and the market research that they do. We have a very clear growth strategy, a very clear business model that supports that growth strategy, and our focus really is on building a long-term company. We're not interested in short-term return or a short-term company. Giving us this very diverse and established revenue base that we have on the CDMO and the drug side, meaning that we're not constantly chasing short-term revenues. We have long-term revenues in the business. And then, of course, the largest selling point is it's a wonderfully dedicated, brilliant and experienced management team in the business that has led the team all the way through so far the journey. There we go. That's a little bit about us, what we're doing, and where we're going.
Thank you very much, Justin. I've been watching Magle Chemoswed for a long time, and we have, I haven't told you this before, but we have used Magle Chemoswed as a test case for candidates applying for jobs at Västra Hamnen because it was at least a little bit difficult to see through.
Oh, yes.
When at the time of your listing, you were a CDMO. And it was good business, but it wasn't exceptionally profitable, and it wasn't exceptionally high growth. Then you had something cooking in the background, which you didn't talk so much about. Oh. And now, this thing cooking in the background is turning into a pretty wide portfolio of proprietary products, which potentially could be quite profitable. And also you had grown downstream by buying your distributor. Would you agree that you're a totally different company and going to evolve even more if you look at 2-3 years into the future?
Yeah, absolutely, Alf. I mean, I think the whole business model was always about using the CDMO to generate good returns and to take those returns and to invest it into the DSM side to grow the business. I think Q1, the results that we had in Q1 now, I mean, you can see the bottom line. The pre-tax profits there are almost triple what they were the same time last year. Mm. This is a direct generation of revenues coming now from the DSM products. Mm. Yeah, absolutely, different company.
Mm. But then, of course, you have been affected by the pandemic, and a lot of the biotech industry has had all kinds of problems with not being able to do clinical studies. How is that situation now, you think?
It's coming back to normal for us. I mean, I think on the drug and the pharmaceutical side, we still see some influence from China. But China's still holding that lockdown for quite a long time in terms of raw materials that we purchase from China in order to generate. So we're still having some effect. On the clinical trial effect, this has really opened up again in Europe. So we don't see much of that effect. And I think it's also about leveraging the contact and the network that you have so that you don't get pushed too far down the queue. So we've actually managed to I think the largest delay we had was on SmartPan, and that was about 3 months. So apart from that, we're on track.
And you mentioned your acquisition of Pharmacept, which was your distributor and your integration downstream. And I remember you saying that a lot of the value added in your business is downstream. Now, could you leverage on that platform by not only using it for selling your own products, but you offer that services to other medtech companies, for instance?
Yeah, as long as they're not competitive, of course. We have some discussions with what we would call complementary products. So for Embocept S and Embocept M and L, for example, this treatment is delivered through catheters. And there are 2 really unique companies in Germany that have new catheter systems and they're just an R&D organization. So yes, we're looking at whether we can collaborate with them, for example, bundle the products together and be able to do that. So yes, there is the capability and the potential to do that.
And of course, in your current portfolio, there's one product that you didn't come up with yourself, the cytostatic Platicept, I think it's called. Now, cytostatic, it's a crowded field, lots of generics. Why is it even in your portfolio?
Platicept works very well with the Embocept S product, and we had the notified body in Europe approve Embocept S for the treatment of lung tumors. Embolization of lung tumors is a fairly new therapy, and we have a clinical study that started now for that, and that is in combination with Platicept. So Platicept is a cisplatin, a platinum-based old generic cytostatic, but we see that's incredibly compatible with our technology platform, and also in the preliminary results that we've seen using the microspheres with cisplatin on a lung tumor, we see great results. So this is a reason for it to be in this. It's to bundle onto the Embocept S product.
I see. And going back to your proprietary products and the DSM, the core of the technology is actually potato starch, isn't it?
You make it sound too simple. Yes, it's very, very complicated stuff. But
I was going to say that potato starch. Most of us have been in contact with potato starch.
Absolutely.
But it does have some specific features that makes it very helpful in your application. What is that?
It's first of all, we start with a natural product. The natural product is freely available, so we don't have a sourcing problem when it comes to that. It's relatively cheap, which gives us a really good return on our products. The most important features, I think, are actually what ends in the final product, and that is that it is biocompatible and it's biodegradable. So we can put it inside the patient, and we can have it inside the patient for a period of time. For Embocept L, we keep it inside the bloodstream for up to 72 hours with a very, very low problem with the patient, whereas the competitor products are all either cellulose or PVA based, meaning that you will constantly have some sort of residual and micromolecules running through your system. So here we have something that's incredibly interesting. Where we see great future potential for this is on the biologic side. So the great thing with the microspheres is they're compatible with things like stem cells. So we have a big stem cell project currently running where we're actually growing stem cells on the inside of the microspheres and using them as a vehicle to deliver stem cells into the body, where the body breaks the microsphere down and allows the stem cell out. We have a protein project, protein delivery with this, so it's compatible with proteins, and I can go on forever, I don't know which time, but there's a lot of versatility just as a result of the fact that it is a natural starch-based product.
Lovely. That's all we have time for.
Sure.
Thanks very much, Justin.
Super. Thank you all.